Good morning, Way Fam, from Sequim, Washington.
I'm Ashley, this is my husband Josh. Welcome to our channel.
We sold everything we had to travel the world, and now we want to share with you the way away.
So be sure to subscribe down below, hit that little like button and the little bell so you can follow more of our adventures.
Let's go. Today we are headed to Crescent Lake and the Devil's Punch Bowl on a hike with our friends, The Endless Adventure, and then we're coming back to this gorgeous cabin and having a romantic after Valentine's Day evening in with friends.
Yeah, we went from like tiny home cabins to this amazing cabin.
We have a beautiful view of the Olympics. We have a hot tub, a swimming pool, if it were warm enough for the swimming pool. And Ashley and I are staying in the loft where we get a look over the hearth and the living room that we hung out in last night. It is a wonderful, wonderful place to come stay.
Super duper cozy.
So links as always are in the description down below for the places that we really enjoy staying. The owners here are fantastic. They came over and welcomed us warmly. They're helping us turn on the hot tub for later.
The optimum temperature.
Yeah, the perfect temperature.
Optimal.
But I think now we're gonna head out and go on our hike.
Don't tell me.
You may have noticed that everything everywhere is always a little bit wet. That's Washington for you. It never rains a ton, it just rains a little bit all the time. We are at the Spruce Railroad Trailhead near Crescent Lake. I'm gonna go for a delightful little hike. In our video a couple days ago when we were at the Ape Caves, I mentioned that we saw cougar tracks. Indeed, cougar and bear are in the area. And Ashley has brought her bear spray, which is just you yelling, I think, right?
Yeah, mostly.
Now, you may have heard the saying that the moss grows on the north side of the tree. That's how you can tell where you are. Unfortunately, in Washington, it's just wet, like, all the time. And so, you just get lost.
Adventure never ends with us.
In years past, this trail was a bit more muddy and dirty and a bit more trail-like, like you're actually hiking. Recently, however, they paved it, and they can get vehicles up here to access the lake and different things. So it's still a beautiful hike, but it's not as adventurous feeling as it used to. It's not as rustic, yeah. But Ashley's got a fantastic story about the lake that you might be interested in hearing. Stick around for that. The last time Ashley and I were here a couple of years ago, this whole cave, well, tunnel really for the railway, was sunken in. It had collapsed the ceiling a little bit. It was dipped down and there was rubble everywhere. You had to climb over it. But like we mentioned before, they've gone through and basically remade this whole trail and it's extremely accessible now. It's basically just gravel the whole way and it's reinforced and a rebuilt structure entrance and everything. This is nice.
I'd like to take a bike through here.
Ooh, those are the electric bikes that we had up in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, this would be
That'd
awesome.
be really nice right now. This whole railway was built here to transport the Sitka spruce that we have. It's unique to this area. Washington in this area is actually a rainforest, a cold rainforest, not what you think of with a rainforest. But this railway was built from the mountains and the hills over here to transport the spruce all the way into Port Angeles. However, the railway was completed only 19 days before the end of World War I, so they didn't really get to use it a whole lot, and eventually a commercial railway took over the area.
It was the army that actually built the railway because they were using the spruce wood because of the light for the airplanes that they're going to create in World War I.
Have you heard of the Spruce Goose? A giant airplane built by an eccentric billionaire, and it never actually got used. But it was a great engineering feat to show off.
Was it made from spruce?
It was made from spruce. That's why it was called the Spruce Goose.
That's
so
very cool.
Maybe not these exact trees, but trees just like this.
Yeah. After getting through the railroad tunnel, now our trail has become a little bit more legit. It's like a nice little forest trail, and yeah, it just seems more rustic in a way. So we're just going to continue down here, hopefully get some more views of the lake. The color of this lake is incredible. It's really emerald green, and when the sun's out, the blue. It's just so clear, and also it's the second deepest lake in Washington state. Even some portions of it, they don't even know how deep it actually is because they haven't been able to touch the bottom.
Yeah. live around here. Nothing. I don't feel nothing. Nothing at all. I don't feel nothing. Say nothing. I don't hear nothing.
Yeah, let's
my
do it like one
gosh.
minute, or like
I was
once.
thinking, I'm
Yeah.
getting so tired. So we
guys
screwed up. We were walking. I think we walked a long time and we're like, where is it? We don't remember it being this long and far away. Well, it's way back there, almost at the beginning where we went into the tunnel. And we walked this far. We walked so far, almost halfway around Lake Crescent.
Man, we really overshot the Devil's Punch Bowl by like an hour. Thankfully, Eric checked his phone and was like, I feel like this is pretty far.
We did it.
we got on here turkey, cranberry, creme de la cheese,
All that good.
spinach.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Everything delicious and wonderful.
Ain't nothing. I don't feel nothing. I don't feel nothing at all.
Remember when we were here earlier today? We were talking about the railroad and different things. Well, that's where we made the wrong turn and we should have gone down that way. Oh my gosh. So there's a legend here at Lake Crescent. Supposedly, Lake Crescent is a haunted lake. The reason being is there was a woman who came here. She and her husband were married, and it was a very difficult marriage. It was an abusive marriage. She went missing, and he didn't know where she was. Nobody knew where she was. After 3 years, he had already gotten married, moved to California, and while a few people were out on a boat on Lake Crescent, they found her body. Because this lake is so cold and the different elements in this lake, it had made her body like soap and preserved her to look just like she had 3 years before she died. Now the story goes is that this lake is haunted by her ghost. I've never had any experiences with that, but I think it's a fun story and something since I was a kid, I was told about the Lady of the Lake at Lake Crescent. We made it! Back to the car! That was a long hike. Our legs are jiggly. Eric didn't think he could make it back.
All right, I realized that my phone tracks all of our movements. So
After the fact.
we went 7.5 miles today, and the Devil's Punch Bowl is like less than a mile.
So we pretty much went, 6 miles farther than we even planned or needed to.
16.5 thousand steps.
Guys, that was a mistake. But
I can
it
recommend
was
it.
really beautiful, yeah. Lake Crescent is stunning. I'm always shocked at the color of this lake. It's beautiful.
I've never been here when it's warm though, although I've heard it is the Devil's Punch Bowl is a great place to swim.
Yeah.
Never been here when it's nice enough to swim, but maybe some other time.
Now we're gonna head back to the house and get in that hot tub.
Don't tell me. Feel nothing. Don't tell me. Hear
Good evening, Wayfam darlings.
Good evening.
Oh,
Yes.
hello.
We decided to finish our night with a bottle of fake champagne.
And the worst accents you've ever heard.
Yes, darling, yes.
What is that accent, by the way?
I don't know, it didn't come out as I expected. I wanted to be more
Quick, switch it up.
posh.
Switch it up.
Hello. We're so fancy. With our hands and our beverages.
We
And our
enjoyed
fire. It's luxury.
it. luxury. That was good.
Luxury. Yes, yes.
Thank you so much for watching our show today. We hope we encourage you to get out and travel. And we'll see you in the next video.
And
Wait, this is Julia Child's accent. I know this accent.
Oh, no!